What's going on, traders? Welcome to Investing Trends, where we talk about the latest news and trades on trending stocks. It's finally here. ARK Space Exploration Fund, ticker symbol ARKX, launched this Tuesday, and we've been waiting nearly 3 months for this new ETF to kick off. This is not the first ETF to offer access to space exploration, but it is the first one under the rising star and active manager Cathie Wood. Popular space-related ETFs out there include Procure Space ETF, ticker symbol UFO, and Kensho Final Frontiers, ticker symbol ROKT by Spider. ARKX ETF includes some rather surprising or even questionable holdings, so let's take a deep dive and go behind the vision for ARKX and its mix of holdings. Cathie has said in the past that ARKX would be a convergence of various platforms in play. She is talking about rockets and robots, mobile connectivity, 3D printing, robotics, sensors, deep learning, and artificial intelligence. The two biggest growth opportunities in this space is first, mobile connectivity, and second, hypersonic flight, where we will be able to fly from New York to Japan in 2 hours, for instance. ARKX top 5 holdings are Trimble, ARK's 3D printing ETF PRNT, Kratos, L3 Harris, and JD.com. The next 5 companies to round out the top 10 include Komatsu, Lockheed Martin, Iridium, Thales, and Boeing. The fund will have an expense ratio of 0.75%, which is rather high for an ETF in general, but the same for other ARK ETF. Looking at the top 10 holdings, there are some rather surprising names. First, ARKX include another ARK's ETF as its number 2 position is a quite unusual move, especially since 3D printing isn't necessarily a very space-focused theme. 3D printing can be used for everything including car manufacturing, engineering, healthcare, and it would seem reasonable to assume that those who want exposure to 3D printing would just buy the 3D printing ETF. Thus, I don't really see a good reason to include it in the ARKX, which is supposed to be an ETF with a clear space exploration focus. This move to include PRNT ETF in a brand new ARK ETF thus seemed rather questionable to me, especially since it is so far not clear whether fees will be waived. ARK might receive management fees on the same assets twice. Let's take a closer look to some of these specific stocks. The reason for big name stocks like Amazon, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing. They are doing a lot of work in the drone space. The combination of rocket business and the drone business puts some of these larger cap names really at the leading edge. In addition, we know that Cathie Wood uses these big names as a cash-like proxy, so in an event of a downturn of the market, we may see some selling of these stocks. Trimble, their number 1 holding. It is a company focused on automation technology for the agriculture vertical. It uses communication and GPS to control construction sites and mines. As the world becomes more autonomous, this type of technology will be better enabled via space as low Earth orbital satellites will increase their productivity. JD.com. Cathie's rationale for having JD in her ARKX holding is because JD in China has a sophisticated logistic company that is using drones to help with supply chain management. It is a play on e-commerce increasing and more efficiency in reducing inventory with better supply chain procedures with the help of drones. Iridium. It is a low Earth orbital satellite business. Keep note that this company went bankrupt in the year 2000, but came back being a global coverage provider for critical communication to ships and aircrafts, such as the big red SOS button in cruise ships. AeroVironment, which is a $3 billion market cap stock, is also in the portfolio, which is a company dedicated to unmanned aerial vehicles. So while ARKX has some pure play space companies like Iridium and Virgin Galactic, it also covers defense and aerospace companies such as Kratos, L3 Harris, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing. The more surprising companies are the e-commerce companies JD.com and Alibaba, along with agriculture companies Trimble and Deere. Plus, there's that random Netflix holding. What I find surprising is that Tesla is not included here. Cathie Wood is known to be a fanatic of Tesla, and the company is the top holding in multiple ARK ETFs. Plus, she just came out with a higher $3,000 price target on Tesla. Just surprising based on her past behavior, but investors may be relieved as ARKX having Tesla may just be too much Tesla exposure for those that carry all of her ETFs. Speaking of overlaps, here is an analysis that shows which companies are in other ARK ETFs and which companies are only in ARKX. So this is the list of all the companies that are in ARKX ETF, total of 39 stocks, and it is ranked by size of market value. Now let's compare this to the actively traded ETFs ARKK, ARKQ, ARKG, ARKF, and ARKW. The ones filled in black means that the stock is in that particular ETF. So for example, if you own ARKQ, you already have Trimble and Kratos defense, but not L3Harris Technologies. As you can clearly see, ARKX is very similar to ARKQ here. A lot of overlaps in the stocks that they hold. On the other hand, it has no duplicate stocks with ARKG, for obvious reason being ARKG is genomic healthcare related ETF. There will be some serious issue here if there were a lot of duplicates between these two funds. So in my view, if I already own ARKQ, I don't think it's worth buying ARKX. Unless I really believe in those extra stocks that ARKX holds that is not already in ARKQ, so it may be worthwhile to take a deeper dive to see which stocks are not in ARKQ. What if I own all of ARK ETFs? Then we look at the total column. By filtering only the ones that are not duplicates, we get a list of all the individual stocks that are not within any of these 5 active ETFs by ARK Invest. Before we go into the details of these stocks, let's also consider 2 remaining ARK ETFs, PRNT and IZRL. The entire PRNT ETF managed by ARK Invest is number 2 holding in ARKX. One big criticism here is that ARK Invest is double dipping on the management fee if they are not waiving the fee for PRNT. And the potential double dipping here means that investors pay the management fee for buying ARKX, and the funds are used to buy one of their own ETF, PRNT, which then charges management fee again. So if you already own PRNT, does it make sense to buy ARKX since PRNT is number 2 holding? Potentially sell PRNT and keep ARKX instead. If you own all 7 ETFs, then let's see which stocks you need to add to have the same exposure to ARKX. There are only 10 unique stocks that are not represented in the 7 ETFs. ARKX doesn't provide extra value where a lot of them are already duplicates. Sure, ARK Invest may expand the ARKX list in the future, but at the moment, the list only provides exposure to 10 new stocks. Plus, I'm not too excited about these 10 new stocks. L3Harris is a defense company with a market cap of $41 billion. Komatsu is a Japanese industrial company that does manufacturing and construction along with mining activities. You should already be familiar with Boeing, Garmin, Airbus, and Honeywell. Bottom line, this list is not exciting. I am not a buyer of ARKX for now. The list of companies is very similar to ARKQ, so if you already own ARKQ, then this ETF does not provide much value. Feel free to pause the video and compare to see which stocks ARKX brings to you based on the ETFs and the stocks you already own. And here are the daily trades for the consolidated view of ARK Invest ETFs, which now includes the brand spanking new ARKX. For those who have been watching this series, do you remember when ARK didn't upload their trades on Friday, March 12th? Well, it looks like they did that because they no longer want to show you the trades that day. They are now delaying the full list of trades until the next day, even though they are sending the short list via email. Few key stocks I want to highlight this week. ARK has been on a buying trend looking at their top 5 holdings and been specifically bullish on Sea Limited as they bought 375,000 shares this week, which is close to 15% of their holdings. Sea Limited is up 15% for the week, So they are buying the stock even on an uptrend and not taking profits or buying the dip. Bullish signal. On the other hand, lots of selling of PayPal shares, with 1.3 million shares being sold just this week alone. Although the stock is up 6% this week, it is down close to 9% for the month, as Cathie is selling off close to 50% of his holdings of PayPal. I will lean towards that she is bearish on PayPal, as I prefer to see her buying the dip and not selling a 50% stake. Current PayPal investors, take note. Going down the list, strong upward trend on Adaptive Biotechnologies and Butterfly Networks. I am current investor in Butterfly Networks, and it's great to see Cathie buying the dip on this stock. Both of them are trading lower relative to their 3-month price performance. Although we talked about Netflix being in the new ARKX fund, we see lots of selling of Netflix stock on a consolidated basis. More than 40% of its holdings were sold this week. Phreesia also took a hit here, as Cathie sold more than 550,000 shares this week, leaving ARK with only 1.2 million shares. It is a healthcare software company providing patient check-in solutions. The company just released its earnings result on March 29th, where they had a negative return on equity. And lastly, Cathie picked up a lot of shares of Base Inc., which is a Japanese fintech company that offers online shopping services, POS systems, and financial services for shop owners. Cathie bought 1.8 million shares, bringing her total holdings to 2.3 million shares, which translates to close to 400% increase in holdings. If you liked this video, especially the comparison of ARKX with the other ARK Invest ETFs, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Let this be a guide to your investing needs and long-term investing to reach financial freedom. Thanks for watching, wish you all a happy Easter, and see you next time.